Trust me, I know. Trust me, I know. It gets tough. I know it does. It's not always the easiest thing to wake up and say, I can put on my best smile today. I can put on my best performance today. I can do the best that I can today. That's not always the easiest thing to do. Now, it's important to have a why. Why you wake up in the morning, why you get out of bed on time, why you go forward and do the things that you need to do. But there is a psychological aspect of it to where mentally it can be so draining. Mentally, you can already be so drained that putting forth the effort to do that extra amount of energy you want to do to perk yourself back up, because I can perk myself up all day long. I can do this, we can get ready, we can go do what we want to do, we can ha-ha, we can hurrah, we can get the job done. But then when the mask comes off, reality kicks in. Mentally, we are drained. And no one's exempt. For me personally, going into this year, I already had so much mentally on my mind that I was already dealing with. Just being a family man, being a husband, having 2 kids, just the responsibility of, I need to make sure I'm doing what I need to do to make sure they're okay. I need to do what I need to do to make sure that we stay a unit. I need to do what I need to do to keep us grounded. You know, so many thought process, so many thoughts go into it. But outside of that, just looking at the relationships I have with people, how I want to reach out more, how I don't, but I want to do this, but then I don't, or I procrastinate on this, when I do this, it becomes a stacking block of a whole bunch of disappointments. And those disappointments start to add up. Now me, believe it or not, I'm actually an introvert. But I know how to be an extrovert. So I can go out and talk and mingle, and I can get on stage, I can perform, I can do whatever I need to do. And you would never think, man, that guy's an introvert. It would seem like I'm an extrovert. But in my natural habitat, I am an introvert. So much of an introvert. Dang it, man. You know what? I'm not even going to stop this take. I like this watch. I've had it for a few years now. And the armband just gave out. It gave out and it fell on the floor. Now I can get some glue or whatever I need to do later on to fix it up. But I'm actually going to use that since it happened. Sometimes what we want to happen, what we want to see, doesn't go the way that we want it. It doesn't go as planned. Something falls off. Something drops off. Our ambition could drop. Our motivation could fall off. And then when it does, we get discouraged. When it does, we immediately want to restart and try again. Or if somebody sees that we have stopped, we may even get embarrassed and say, oh my God, I can't let them see that this is happening. I can't let them see what just happened. You know my first thought? Because again, I'm an introvert now. But I had to let my extrovert kick in and say, you don't care about that, keep going. But when that watch just fell off, the minute it hit the floor, you saw I paused. I paused because the thought went through my mind, dang, I gotta do this all over again. I gotta start this video all over again because my watch fell. So now I gotta start all over because the watch fell off. And that's not how I thought this would go. But in reality, when we're making decisions, we don't just get do-overs. It's not a video game. We can't just save and just pick up from our last save. And if we mess up, just reload and try again. We have to keep moving with what we have. Life's going to throw us stuff that we did not see coming. And that's why it's important to just move. Because no matter how much you plan, you can sit still and plan perfectly for 3 years and say, this is exactly how I'm going to do it. I've done all the research. I know it's going to do what it needs to do. It's going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. This is going to just work flawlessly. And then the minute it's time to execute, a pandemic hits. It changes everything. And your plan was based on a brick and mortar and we can't go outside right now. See how much something could get thrown and then you just have to stop and pause and say, wait, I just you gotta move. But mentally, it can get hard. And as it stacks, for me personally, when I came into this year, I just told you I was dealing with so much. On top of that, April 5th, my mom and my little brother, they go out of town, they want to go enjoy themselves, get out, have some them time. Great. I'm at work. And it's odd because I'm sitting at my desk and I start getting really, really hot and uncomfortable. And that usually doesn't happen. So I say, okay, let me take a break. Let me just go out and get some air. So I went out and got air. And as I was sitting in my car, my phone started ringing and I saw it was my little brother. I'm like, well, he doesn't just call me. He's an introvert too, so we text more than we talk. So when he called me, I'm like, what's going on? Long story short, I'll spare the details. I don't want to relive it all right now. But long story short, my mom was having a stroke. And she was having one in another state that was not just down, she was not just down the street. So during that time, I went to my HR, hey, I have to leave. My mom had a stroke in another state and I'm about to go get there. I'm about to go there right now. I traveled. It was a drive, but I got there. And going through that process, I already had so much, and then that happened. I'm like, oh my God, this is happening. And then a few months later, because I'm trying, she's got to go through the rehab process. We got to see what direction she's moving in and all of those things. But then a few months later, I lose my godmother. Beautiful spirit. She was amazing. Wonderful woman. And when that happened, I'm like, wow. I got someone go for so much going on. Granted, it was a lot going on, but I felt that's no excuse. My youngest son, I didn't even get a chance to bring him to her because the pandemic had a lot of stuff kind of slowing down. You want to be cautious with who you're going around. And with so much I had going on, I just knew that I would get the time to do it. But guess what? The time didn't come. Then I had to live with the fact that I just wish all I could do was play in my mind. She probably would have said this when she saw my second son. She probably would have said how much she looks so much like me, or what memory she has, or what she can't wait to do with him, and I didn't get that. Because I didn't make the move. See where I'm going with this? Because I decided to sit and wait and think that I had the time, it slipped away just like that because a circumstance came that I could not predict. Just the same way my watch failed. I couldn't predict that was going to happen. Because if I could have predicted that, I would have started the video without the watch on. Right? But when things happen, it's not about how we react to it. It's about how we respond. What do we respond and do? How do we respond to the circumstances? Because after that happened to my mom, I was supposed to do a show. I had a show at the WC Social Club in West Chicago. And I was like conflicted because my mom was supposed to be there. But I knew I had to still do it. Something told me, still go do that show. And I did. Worst show of my life. I performed plenty of times, but that one was the worst one. I was doing great up until the very end. That very end came and then I had a hiccup and then I just dropped the ball completely. Completely ruined all the effort I just did leading up to that. It was horrible. But then as time went on, I started to see my mother. I started to see her progress. She was progressing so well. Like 6 months after the fact, even just leading up to when she was finally able to get out the hospital, her right side was limp. So it couldn't move. But her determination did something for me. Because that first day when I saw her and she was laying in that bed and just half of her body couldn't move, she showed me, because she couldn't really talk either. She could only mumble. So I was trying to figure out what she's saying and try to go through the process of, you're going to talk about this, or you talk about that, or you talk about this? Is this the word you're trying to say? What are you trying to... And she's frustrated because she can't say and speak the way she used to. And I'm just trying to figure out what she's trying to say. But she showed me that she was able to start moving her foot that they said that she couldn't move. That day let me know this is going to go in the right direction. Since then, she learned how to walk again. Her speech has gotten better. Her arm, it's the arm in her speech, like her voice. Because when you go through a stroke, sometimes your voice can like lose its bass, or you have like a baby voice. I'm saying that because my mom said it. So I'm just speaking from her point of view. She called it the baby voice. So her voice has to come back and her speech has to get more clear and consistent. And then her arm has to get back to full mobility. But this is still the same year. To see how much progress she made, and then to know, but it's mentally draining because she's in a position where she can't do what she used to be able to do. She has to rely on others more now that she's never really had to do. Because my mom, she's not going to reach out if she don't have to. But being in a position that says I have to reach out, it's very uncomfortable. I got it from her, so I can speak from my standpoint too. I did not like asking for help. I guess it was pride and ego. I don't want to reach out to family. I don't want to reach out to friends. I don't want to feel like I owe someone anything or anything like that. I'm just going to get it from the mud. I'm just going 10 toes down, get it done somehow. And if I don't, just live with it. But it does something to you psychologically. So for me on the outside, when I look at her progress, I'm like, this is an inspiration. And I got the nerve to slow down my progress. I got the nerve to stop putting energy into what I'm supposed to be doing. I got the nerve to sit down and self-pity when I see my mom making so much progress, giving so much effort to get back to where she was at. She didn't let them people in the hospital tell her. Great people, wonderful staff. In another video, I will definitely say where she went. Beautiful, beautiful. But it's not about that right now. But when they was telling her, hey, slow down, this usually doesn't happen. This is the time frame for this. She kept saying, no. Every time they checked on her, she was able to do something new. They had goals for her. When they came in, they had to change all that up. Because she had already hit those goals and put more on top. She put her own goals in place that was surpassing their goals. So when I see what she does, and I see that I'm still full functioning, what's my excuse? I had to look myself in the mirror and say, what's your excuse? Why aren't you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Why are you not producing? Why are you not producing anymore? I had just started doing these videos. I was going to perform. I went to be a movie. I went to a movie to be an extra in it. It actually just came out. And we went to the premiere. We got to see the movie and everything. It was great. Wonderful, wonderful cast. I'm going to give props to them too. But I did those things during that weekend that she had a stroke. I kept doing what I was supposed to do. But then after it, I had the nerve to stop. And people would say, well, I had right reason. Like, I was dealing with a lot. My mother did have a stroke. I had to take the time to sit back. But it was the digging out. I just recently dug out, finally. It had me for so long. I was in that pit for so long. And I know I'm staying inspired. I'll go around people and I bring them up. I lift them up. But when I feel like I can't do that, I'm an introvert. I'm not going to come around. I'm not going to call. I'm not going to reach out as much because I know I don't have the energy that I'm supposed to put in you so that you can go up. That's that not looking for help. So I can help you when you're up. But I won't give you the opportunity to help me when I'm down, because I won't even let you know that that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. But it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot. Mental health is important. Mental health is important. Mental health is important. Sometimes you got to dig deep and say, what is it that you're trying to do? What is it that's the reason for why you're trying to do what you're trying to do? Are you trying to do it for your kids? Are you trying to do it because you're trying to leave legacy? Are you trying to do it because you're trying to leave your footprint on this place? Are you trying to do it because you're trying to impact people? Why are you doing it? We got to go back to why we're doing it. And I will admit, it almost may sound a little contradictory to what I'm saying, but sometimes you do need that time to step back and breathe and kind of process everything that's going on. But my thing is, don't get stuck there. Don't get stuck there. Don't get stuck there. I almost got stuck there. But when we get stuck there, it affects every relationship around us. It affects our productivity. It affects our view on how we look at everything, whether that's going to work, whether that's getting dressed in the morning, whether that's the weekend already flying by, or Monday coming up, whatever the case may be, we look at things in a completely different light when we in that hole. But when you can break out of it, when you can remember what you called to do, when you can just take the time to look at somebody else's situation and say, wow, look what they're doing with what they have. And I have this. Maybe I should be doing a little bit more. So my message to you right now, I know I'm not super high energy right now. A lot of you probably already clicked off because the way that my tone is, even though my body language is here, the way that my tone is may have turned you off and you had to leave already. But if you're still here, know that keeping your mind guarded is a daily task. Make sure you're aware of what you're thinking about. Make sure you're aware of what you're focused on and what you're doing it for. Take the time to breathe. But don't let things stack up. Don't let that self-doubt stack up. Don't let all that, what you feel like you should be doing, because you're at a certain age, you should have all of this. Or because you did go to school, you should have this come from that. Or you didn't go to school, so you feel like you should be here, but you're not there. Or wherever you thought it would look like, and it don't look like. When the watch drop off your wrist, know that it's still time to do something about it. Keep in mind that it's still time to do something about it. Do something about it. Only if you let